back to my channel. I hope that you guys are all doing well. So today is our wrap with me and our Q&A. I'm super excited to jump into this. This is the first wrap with me that I'm actually asking questions. I didn't even do a wrap with me last year. I think I just shared our gifts. I didn't do that this year just because we didn't really do anything educational for gifts, so I didn't know if anyone would really be interested through our homeschooling channel. But yeah, so I'm gonna try to give this a shot. I hope it works out well. I always feel rude when I'm not looking at you guys when I am doing things, so that may be a little bit of a struggle for me. But I'm gonna go ahead and get started with this wrapping. I will share with you guys how I wrap gifts, not the actual wrapping of it, but I use tulle to do bows. Here, and I'm gonna show you guys a couple. I did wrap a few gifts before I'm getting started today on the filming, but this is what it looks like with the tulle. I love using the tulle because literally all you have to do is pull the ribbons out and it's untied. It's not like using real ribbon where they have to like cut it or pull it really hard. You literally just pull on the bow and then it unravels itself. So that's how I like to wrap gifts. So starting off, I hope that you guys are having an amazing December. I hope that you guys are reflecting on this year, thinking about all the blessings that you've been given, soaking in all the goodness. You know, I've mentioned it in my other videos that this world can be kind of overwhelming and crazy, but just keep in mind, you know, that this season is not about all of the things, all the gifts, all the parties, all the festivities, all the crafts and baking and trying to do everything you can in this month, that it truly is for Jesus, that's why we celebrate this holiday as Christians. And yeah, so I just wanted to say that because this month has been kind of crazy for me. Usually I'm like done with shopping in November. I usually start in December. In July I'm usually wrapped, and you know, wrapping up the presents are usually done, and this month I usually just try to take it slow, and it's just been kind of different here for us. So today I am wrapping the gifts with you guys. We are, what is today? Today is Saturday, so Christmas is next Sunday. So that's how close we are. You guys will see this on Monday. I wanted to make sure to have, you know, questions from you guys so I could answer them while I'm doing the wrap with me, just so that it keeps you guys engaged, because I feel like it may be boring just me wrapping gifts and you guys hanging out with me and I didn't know what to talk about. So I thought it'd be fun to ask you guys questions. I love to hear from you guys. I always feel like that is what makes this channel, that is what makes me motivated to continue with this channel, is when I hear you guys engaging. Just because sometimes it can feel like lonely on this side of the camera because you put in time, you share your story and your life and the things you do and the things you know, and sometimes when you don't hear like anything from the other side, you kind of feel like you're just doing it to do it. So it's always super nice to hear from you guys. It's always, and it's crazy because for those of you who comment on my videos, like, I know you guys, you know what I mean? In my head, I don't know you guys, obviously, that's weird. But I know you guys by your guys' name and your picture on YouTube and Instagram. And even, you know, as months pass and say like one of you guys have been commenting a lot and then I don't hear from you guys, I'm like, I wonder how they're doing. I hope they're doing okay. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you build that friendship through social media. It's kind of weird, but I love this platform. I feel like it has helped me tremendously in my homeschooling journey. And even though my homeschooling journey isn't as lonely as some, because I have my sister and we have the kids that school together, you know, having, you know, friends and stuff like that kind of feel distant sometimes. So it's been really nice. So I just want to thank you guys for being a part of this channel and making this end of the camera feel like I'm not alone. You know what I'm saying? So with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump in. I'm gonna ask a couple questions and try to answer them as I wrap. I don't know how well that's gonna go. I can totally multitask when I'm doing homeschool stuff, like laminating and doing hole punching and making books and stuff like that, but I don't know how it's gonna go with me answering questions and trying to wrap presents. I don't know. So we shall see. We're doing this together, you guys. So hopefully you guys are gonna grab your wrapping stuff, sit down alongside me, wrap your gifts, get something warm to drink, cozy up next to, I don't know, your fireplace, or just in a nice cozy room with a blanket. I don't know, you guys, do what you do, okay? So let's jump into this. You know what? Let me know down in the comments if you guys are gonna be wrapping alongside me or if you guys are just hanging out, just for the fun of it, just to escape life a little bit. Okay, so the first question I'm going to answer is, do you wrap the kiddos' gifts in the same paper print or different for each? So I've done both. This year, I am going to be wrapping my kids' stockings separately. So my son will have this Minions because he loves Minions. My daughter will have this Marvel wrapping because she loves Marvel. But as far as the Christmas tree presents, I'm wrapping just everybody's just however I want to. It's not specific. I bought a whole lot of rolls of the foil wrapping paper from the Dollar Tree. I did that one year and all I had under the Christmas tree was foil wrapping paper, and I loved it. It looked so pretty. Now I have wrapped some gifts already, but this is one of the wrappings that I got. Isn't it so pretty? It looks vintage. I love it. So I did this one. I have this snowman one. We have snowflakes. I hope you guys are interested in me showing you guys the wrapping that I chose. This one is reindeer. I haven't opened it yet, but it's blue backing. So I just wanted to share with you guys because it's all foil. So it looks so pretty under the Christmas tree. This has this like Christmas tree, but it's like a blue tone one. So that's how I'm doing for my wrapping paper this year. So hopefully the kids are excited when they see their wrapped gifts. I'm just gonna X off. I did print out my questions just so I can still use my phone if I needed to, along with my camera to film. Okay, so let's see here. So I have some from my Instagram and some from my YouTube channel. So from Instagram, hi Darlene. So was the novel Left Behind good? Okay, so I have been reading the Left Behind series to my daughter since the beginning of this year, school year, and it is really good. We are on the second book because I figured we could read a book for each quarter, and it's working out well. I will say make sure if you are going to read that book, I think there's 6 books in the series because I bought the set. But I will say if you are going to read that to your kids, make sure they're old enough because they talk about certain life tragedies. I don't know how to describe it, but if you have kids around, mute this because I'm going to say a couple things and I don't know if your kids know about these things or not. But it talks about suicide, drug use. What else is in there? There's a little bit of cussing. Is there cussing or I don't know. They talk about very adult things, I feel like. Now with my daughter, I've talked to her about a lot of those things already. You know, I think there's drinking in there and drugs and stuff like that. So just be sure that if you do decide to read that book, that those things are in there. But it is so good so far. The first book basically just kind of sets you up with all the characters and where they're at with God, where their family is with God. Oh my gosh, it's so good. It's very engaging. My daughter's always like, can we read another chapter? I'm like, we have a lot of school to do, so probably not. But it's really good. So, I mean, if those are things that you have already discussed with your kids and your kids are at an age that that's appropriate for, I would say I would say get it, especially if you're wanting to talk to your kids about Revelation and you know what's supposed to happen here on earth when all those things come into play. I would get it because it's really good. I wish I started reading it for group Bible instead of just me and my daughter, but my sister is going to be starting it with her kids. It will definitely open up some doors to discussion, which is super important, I feel, when it comes to that topic, especially, you know, things that are going to happen here when he takes us. So yeah, but really good. I would totally refer that to anybody. Okay. Have any of you guys read that series yet to any of your kids? I mean, even as an adult, you could totally read that to yourself. I think it's really good. I think after we may watch the movie by Kirk Cameron, but I will probably have to watch that movie first just to make sure that it's appropriate, because I don't know exactly what happens in the movie. But yeah, it's really good. You guys, I'm hoping this video isn't super long because I talk a lot. I really talk a lot. Is anyone else out there that talks a lot? I'm doing this backwards because I talk a lot. I'm very long-winded and I get very sidetracked. So have any of you guys watched the Left Behind movie by Kirk Cameron? I think it's old. It's been around for a while. I've never seen it. My mom's talked about it. There is a movie, I don't know what it's on now. I can't even remember what my husband and I watched it on, but it's on John and it's on Revelation when he gets the visions from God. And oh my gosh, it's so good. So I'll ask him what it's called and I'll try to, I don't know if I could link it down below, but I will at least give you guys the name of it because that is something that is so good and you guys should definitely watch it. So good. I think I'm gonna do the little reindeer on this one. Oh my gosh, you guys, this video, I hope it's not too long for you guys. See, I'm not good at doing two things at once. Okay, hold on. Let me see another question. Okay, so I have a couple from Darlene, and I'm just going to answer them all in a row because it'll be easy that way. So, holiday traditions. I think that my Grace-Filled Life also asked that question. Yes. Okay, so both of you guys asked that question. I don't know if my camera cut off because it shut off while I was talking, and I don't know exactly when. So our family traditions consist of every year my husband loves to take us to look at Christmas lights like around the different neighborhoods. We look online to see if there's any extravagant houses and we'll kind of map out where we're gonna go. There are a few houses that we've gone to every single year because they do it every single year. And if our money situation is good, we stop and get coffee and hot cocoa from a shop, or if it's not, then I just make us stuff at home. We take it with us. We wear Christmas attire, mostly PJs and stuff, something warm because it's usually freezing. Well, to me it's freezing. To many of you it's just cold. What else? So that's something we do every single year. Something else we do, our family, ever since my niece, who's 14 now, was born. She was our first child in our family. On my side, she started making everybody Christmas ornaments and decoration stuff for our house for Christmas presents for like all the aunts and uncles and grandparents. So all of us have just carried that on throughout the year or years. So each year our kids make presents for the aunts and uncles, the cousins, the grandparents. They're either ornaments or house decorations, anything that they really want to, or something that we choose when they're younger. Literally, most of my ornaments on my tree are made by my kids or my nieces and nephews. Our ornaments all of them have some sort of sentimental value. This year we actually had to buy a small Christmas tree because the puppy, I gated off so the puppy doesn't get it. And I couldn't put up any of our breakable ornaments, so it's just all of our non-breakables. But that's another tradition we do every single year. I always do crafting with the kids. Christmas Eve, we have a lot of traditions, I feel like. This video is gonna be long, you guys. I hope you're wrapping with me because it'll get you through your wrapping. Usually on Christmas, when my daughter was born, we'd wake up, my daughter would have to open gifts, and it would just be super rushed. We'd be worried about getting to my husband's family's on time, then we'd be worried about getting to my dad's house on time. We did that for the first couple years, and then we were like, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I decided, like, I don't want to do it like that anymore. It's too stressful. I felt like I wasn't able to enjoy, like, us being home and, like, enjoying the day. So what I decided to do is on Christmas Eve, we, myself, my husband, and the kids spend Christmas together here. So we watch Christmas movies, we eat dinner together, we open gifts. We literally spend our Christmas Eve like Christmas. And then on Christmas Day, that's when we go to our parents' house. And I feel, you guys, it has taken such like a burden off of my shoulders. Not a burden, it sounds wrong when I say that, but just like the stress of the day and the timing and all of that, because I'm always late. Like, that's something that I struggle with. I'm always late. So you'd think I'd be used to it, but I stress off of us not getting to everybody's houses on time because I know they're waiting, especially to eat and stuff like that. So we changed that. So now that's a tradition. Us in our home, we spend Christmas Eve as Christmas Day. And another thing that I do is every Christmas Eve, I read them a book about the birth of Jesus. Every Christmas Eve we do that. This is our 4th year, I think, doing that. And we do our Advent every year with our Christmas ornaments, and we read through our Advent. And I think that that's basically what our traditions are. Another tradition that we do is, ever since I was younger with my grandmother, we used to do stockings together. All of us, cousins, aunts, uncles, we always did stockings together. So we do stockings at home, and we also do stockings at my dad's house. So like, I buy stockings for all of my nieces and nephews, and or my nieces. On my husband's side, I have nephews, but so we do stockings together. That's also a tradition, I guess, for us. But I want to say that's pretty much all my traditions. There may be a few more, but I don't remember. I'm not even rapping, I'm just talking to you guys. I'm not good at this. Are you planning on creating any more Bible resources? Darlene. Yes. Oh my gosh, I love creating. I love it. And Bible is honestly one of my favorites, I think, because it's kind of off of like, from a feeling perspective. Does that make sense? Like, when I do my history, I'm like having to read stuff and ask questions, but like coming from a biblical point of view, it's kind of cool. You know what I mean? But yes, I plan on it. Now, when am I going to be able to? Hold on, I'm messing up here. I honestly don't know, only because right now I'm trying to get through my history supplements, because my daughter and myself are working through the history, and I want her to have her supplements this year for American history. And also, I had to just work through all of our science stuff, because literally that is what we used for our curriculum. So I had to get those done. But I would love to start doing Bible stuff again. And I have stuff on my mind that I want to do. I just have to honestly find the time to do it. It's so hard juggling everything. And I know you know, because you're a mom, how hard it can be sometimes. But yes, I definitely will have stuff out, but I don't know when. So a question from YouTube Girl says, when would you say you touch more on other time periods? So she's talking about our history, because we're doing NOTGRASS and we've done a lot of American history. So I was having a hard time picking history programs because a lot of them, like Abeka, NOTGRASS, etc., focus on US history forever, it seems they do. Which to me would kind of get repetitive or boring, while some other programs like Story of the World tie in ancient history, medieval period, China, and early civilizations, which I think is so important and exciting. Do you plan on using a curriculum in the future that goes over these civilizations and time periods in history? Do you ever get bored covering US history year after year? Okay, totally good question. What's funny is I looked up like when the kids are supposed to be working through American versus world history, because I was thinking the same thing when I was moving towards NOTGRASS, because NOTGRASS has world history as well. So it does say that through elementary you normally use American history. Now I think that that's for public school, so I mean it's going off of that. So keep that in mind when I'm saying this. And for me, I don't feel like it's been repetitive because I've been adding so much into it. So even though we are covering US history, there's always something new to be learned. And because we are learning so much at a time, we tend to overlook or forget what we've already learned. Does that make sense? So I feel like it hasn't been bad, right? Now, for us, we are doing US history with NOTGRASS, but we are also doing My Father's World geography. And if you know anything about My Father's World, for geography, it's world geography. So we are learning about different civilizations and things like that. We just learned about Mexico, ancient time, Aztecs, stuff like that. So we are learning about, I say we, because you know what? I'm learning alongside my daughter. I'm not even gonna lie. Half the stuff she's learning, I've forgotten about. So, so we haven't really gotten bored because of all of my supplements and because of us using My Father's World. So I can totally see how you'd get bored just covering history if it was literally just text that you're reading, you know? So have we gotten bored? Not really. But I think that that's the reason we haven't gotten bored, is because of all of the added stuff that we are doing. And myself and Tally will be going through, I'm trying to do this NOTGRASS for this year, and I'm hoping to get through with it, or like through the whole thing, by maybe the middle of next year. And then I'm thinking of starting with world history through NOTGRASS because I really enjoyed their history, their world history. I could do the same things that I'm doing now with you know, the elementary aged history, and just add supplements and reading and documentaries and stuff like that. And I think that that really makes it better. So I'm hoping that for half of 6th grade, all of 7th grade, we can get through the world history. And then I think 8th grade is like her civics class through NOTGRASS. And then she will touch on world history again in high school. And I know that in 9th grade, freshman year, it's not like, I think you only need 2 or 3 years of history, or 2 years of history, 1 year of government, or something like that. I don't know, I could be mistaken, so don't take me up on that. But I think it's something like that. So like my niece, she did not have to do history for 9th grade. But if I wanted to touch more on history, or if my daughter really wanted to know more, then I would just add it in on, you know, the years. It wouldn't hurt, you know what I'm saying? But that's only if either your kid is gonna major in something like that, or go to college having to do with history or something like that, you know what I mean? But no, we're not bored. I don't think she's bored. She's still learning stuff, so I think it's good. But I can totally see how you can feel like that. You know what I mean? So if you feel more pulled into doing world geography, check out My Father's World, because their curriculum's pretty cool, and you can just do the geography. It says that it's geography and history, but I've had to add a little bit in for me, but you don't need to. I'm an overdoer, I think, you guys. So if you're not an overdoer, then don't listen to me. But anyways, so yeah, I think that's all I can say about the history. I hope that was helpful. I feel like I just went in circles. All right, so this is from Courtney, and it says, how do you find time for yourself? There's more. I'll answer that first. How do I find time for myself? Honestly, I feel like the only time I have for myself when I'm alone is when I go shopping. And the only place I really shop at in person is the Dollar Tree. And that's because I have another channel called Better Buys with Liz, and I do Dollar Tree hauls mainly. I do other hauls, but mainly Dollar Tree. So I feel like that is when I get my time alone. I'm usually gone for like 4 hours every week for one day when my husband's home, and I feel like that is super therapeutic for me. I've always loved going to those stores, you know, more discount stores, and just finding like cool little treasures and paying cheap prices for them. So I feel like that is when I have time alone. Whenever I'm at home, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'm always being, you know, asked a question, trying to find something for somebody, doing chores. Like, I'm always busy when I'm home, or I'm doing something for my homeschool or for the channel. So I feel like that's probably my best answer, is when I'm out shopping, and it's super therapeutic. It doesn't feel like I'm working, so I really enjoy doing that. But that is pretty much the time I get by myself. Yeah. Okay, so the next part of that question from Courtney is that you wanted a recap of our school schedule and how we fit in all subjects. Okay, so a recap. Man, I feel like I could totally do a whole video on this subject. So we started off the year with a schedule. We're not really sticking by it all the way. We basically are still doing our subjects day to day, how we planned it. I think except for history, I've been doing every day, mostly because I want to get a certain amount done for this year, for next year, if that makes sense. So I'm trying to like play it out as I go. As far as how we get all of the subjects in. Okay, so I don't really know how to explain this, but so for instance, say we have our language lessons, math, those we always do. Language arts and math is something that has to be done every day along with Bible. And then from that point with the language arts, she does have, like for my daughter, she has writing. And this I'm not talking about my niece who's in 4th grade or my high schooler niece who's in 9th grade. So this is my 5th grade daughter. So for her writing and her reading, it varies. Some days she does it, some days she doesn't, just depending on how our day is going. Because writing and reading is involved in every single lesson we do, no matter what subject. So basically I kind of like give or take with that. And then history, science, and geography, we kind of stagger a little bit. So history, we were doing every single day, or I'm sorry, we started it off doing it, I think 3 days a week, and I've moved it to every single day because I'm trying to get it done. And then geography, I kind of just play with it on how the week is going. Mainly we do it on Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and then just depending on where we're at, how much we have, because I'm adding in like fun supplements to it that she actually enjoys doing, different readers and things like that. So, and then we have science that we're doing with my 4th grade niece and my niece and nephew from another state on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. So we kind of staggered that with the geography. And that's pretty much how we're doing our subjects. My high schooler niece is doing all of her Rebecca online. Everything is language arts, math, science she does with my sister through master books. And I think that they do it every day. She's working through Spanish with like a co-op school. And then journalism or something like that. I don't remember, but she's doing something like that with a co-op school. For my son, he does all of his videos with his teacher on the computer because it's through Abeka. So that is literally every single day. He pretty much has a schedule. So that's kind of how our scheduling is. We don't do school together on Wednesdays, so we kind of do our own activities. The kids are in certain things. I think I've touched on this in another video, but that's kind of how we're fitting in our schedule with our subjects. Now, a certain start and stop time, I never really had a stop time just because we do it until our subjects are completely done, what we have planned for that day. I'm gonna start wrapping a little bit because I'm getting sidetracked. It's hard for me to do two things at once, you guys. Well, with this, it's easy to do it with other stuff, but with this, that's not enough. So we used to be on more of a schedule. Now, not so much. And start time, we used to start at 9. We're not really starting at 9 anymore. We kind of start whenever. So my daughter struggles with some things, and one of the things that she struggles with is falling asleep at night. So we used to have a bedtime set for the kids, which I think is really important, but because my daughter's going through some things, sleeping is one of the things that's really hard for her. And so I kind of let her just tire herself out to go to sleep. I don't want to get into like the medical side of it just because it's, you know, it's personal, it's about her. And I won't do that unless she's completely comfortable with me opening up about things that she goes through. So I have just found that it's better for her, me, I mean, all of us in my family to just kind of let her do what she needs to get through what she's going through. And it's kind of taken me a while to figure that out. So we don't really have a set schedule right now. Schooling with my sister has been kind of up and down because her husband's line of work, when he's home and off work, they do school like together. So things have been kind of off this year. So it's hard for me to tell you like a schedule and how all that's going, because what's really weird is we're all about scheduling and we really have just not been scheduling, you guys. There's like no schedule right now. That's probably why I haven't really been doing plan with me's and stuff like that, because things have been just all over the place for us. So right now I really don't have anything to say about that, and I'm sorry. Hopefully one day I will, because I love scheduling. I love having a plan. I love having things in order. I think this is also like maybe a lesson for myself, you know, to get through, learning how to cope in other ways and getting out of my own comfort and kind of learning around that, if that makes sense. So it's actually, I'm not even gonna lie, it's actually been kind of freeing in a way to not be so stressed out about all the little details about timing and stuff. I don't know. Talk to me in a couple months and find out what I think at that time, because, you know, it changes. You know, the seasons of life, the seasons of homeschooling, the seasons with your kids, it's forever changing. So whose was this gift? This is my daughter's. All right, Amanda, so your question is, we are moving to NOTGRASS next year. When your older niece was doing it, would she do lessons all on her own, or did you or your sister sit and do the reading and such with her? Trying to gauge how to start handling middle and high school with independent work. Merry Christmas to you too. Okay, so with NOTGRASS and junior high, you can totally let them do it on their own. It's very straightforward. I don't think that there would be any problem at all. The only reason, like, I sat and did history with her because there wasn't any subjects that we did together besides Bible. And I felt like it was really me and my sister. I say I, but it's really me and my sister. I felt like it was really important for us to connect with her with homeschooling, especially because we do it with the younger kids. And believe it or not, she wanted to do that class with one of us. So I went ahead and did it with her because I wanted to do a class with her as well. And I love history, so, you know, I thought that it would be cool. And so we did it together. But that is literally the only reason that she did not do it on her own, was only because, like, I wanted to do that class with her. So the answer is totally could be an independent class that your kiddos do. You definitely don't need to sit in with them. It's so straightforward. They read the pages in the book. They and in that same book, at the end of the lesson, it'll tell them what book they need next. Like, say they're going to be doing their mapping or their timeline, or they have questions in their lesson review or their workbook, whatever you choose. But it's super simple, and they will have no problem at all doing it on their own. So I would definitely, yeah, I would definitely have them do that class on their own if you need them to. All right, so that is Amanda's question. Now Beth, hey Beth. So I do a lot of workbooks with my daughter, and I'm wanting advice about how much is too much. How many worksheets do your kids do per day? Most people do a certain amount of hours of school a day, but I'm wanting to know worksheet wise if I'm requiring too much of my daughter. Beth. So this is a tough question for me because I love worksheets. I love supplemental stuff. I love having the kids write down what they've heard or learned or questions. So this is really tough for me. I don't think I have a direct answer on a specific amount, only because I think it just depends. So say your day is running long, your kiddo's not paying attention, they're getting tired, they're getting bored. I would say don't keep pushing on with the lessons. I mean, obviously your kids are not going to always want to do school, so you can't stop doing school because they don't want to do it. But say you've already done, you know, a page for your history. I would say if they've gotten through a good amount and you're pretty much on the schedule you want to be on, then if they're not paying a whole lot of attention or, you know, something like that, I would just cut the day short, not short. I would just not continue adding in more worksheets. Like, for instance, this is so hard to have an answer, like a straight answer, because for me, I kind of go off of how my day is going. So we have a schedule, basically like a rhythm that says, okay, Monday we have Bible, we have language, we have math. Mondays we have science, and we have history. You know, reading and writing. Now say, oh my gosh, this wrapping is not great. Hold on, let me do this real quick. So say that my daughter's language took a while, and it kind of took longer because maybe she had to do a book report as well. I am going to cut out her reading for that day because she already did something on her book report, and you know, we read all day. I feel like a lot of these answers that I'm giving you guys today kind of relate back to the same type of thing. You know what I mean? I feel like with homeschool, you kind of have to run with what works for your family, what works for your kids. Some kids love worksheets, some kids hate them. If your kiddo is hating worksheets, don't keep adding in worksheets. Try to do other ways of learning for them. For me, I make so many workbooks and supplemental things that have to do with writing and answering questions. That's why this is so hard for me to answer, because I'm all about the worksheets, you know what I mean? But if I feel like the kids are just not there for it on that specific day, instead of doing 2 worksheets for science, we'll just do 1. You know what I mean? Because I feel like they're grasping more from that 1 sheet than having them do 2 when they're already burnt out. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So honestly, I wish I could say only do one sheet for math, only do one sheet for geography, only do, you know what I'm saying? But I don't think it's that cut and dry with homeschool. That's why we homeschool, so that you can do what works for your kiddo. You know what I mean? I hope that made sense, Beth. I hope you're feeling me on this. I hope you're understanding what I mean. So I would say kind of roll with it. Now, keep in mind that some kids don't like school. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean don't do worksheets because they're not into school, because you have to do worksheets. But you're the one that knows your kid the best. You know when they're paying attention, you know when they're not. So kind of work around that. Julie, so how is year-round going? And how do your kids like it? What is hard to transition them from the long summer break and traditional school mentality? Oh my gosh, Julie. That's so funny you're asking that, because I was thinking, because we were trying to figure out like when school's going to be done for this year, because last year we got done with school so late and we had to start, I felt like it was like just a few weeks after we took our break. It was rough. It was rough. So I can see how cool it is, but for us, like, we love our summer breaks. And not only is it nice because you have such a long break, but it gives me more time to prep. If you guys know me and my channel, you know I am an organizer. I like to come up with stuff. I like to have everything ready for the school year. So having shorter summer breaks, it just did not work for me. It was so stressful. I felt like I was starting a new school year, not ready at all. I mean, every year I kind of feel like I'm not ready, but this year was like something else for me. And I felt like I was going into it before I was ready to, before I had like a mentality break, like a mental break. So I would say for me, year-round hasn't really worked. I really enjoyed having our whole month of December off last year and, you know, time off during the year. But as soon as summer hit, that's when I started regretting it. How many of you guys homeschool year-round or more of a traditional homeschooling family? Now, we are definitely stepping back into the traditional homeschooling life. I want to say for the kids, they actually like the long summer break more than having more frequent breaks. I mean, every kid loves the more frequent breaks while they're happening, as we did too, myself and my sister. But I think this summertime, it just kind of cut it off for us, you know. So this year we're trying to get back into a more traditional year. So also another thing I was noticing is because we were having so many frequent breaks, it was hard to get back into the rhythm of things. So like getting our mentality right on doing school again, it felt too much of an up and down for us. Because it usually takes a few days for us to get back into a schedule, especially with all of us schooling together. The kids get really excited and hyper, they're cousins, so they want to like play around and talk and do things, and it seemed too much. So this year we're really sticking by trying to get the school year done in June, and then we won't start until September again. And what's nice is we were not going to take a long winter break for Christmas time, and we decided last minute, like literally, today is Saturday. On Tuesday or Wednesday, my sister was like, let's start vacation after Friday. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. Before, you guys, I could not do that. I needed like to mentally prepare myself for everything. And I just feel like homeschool has kind of like made me grow in that way to be okay with things like that. And so we're excited. So we're on break right now. We're not going to start, I think, back until January 9th. So you guys, it's giving us like a huge break. We're going to have time after Christmas off, which is going to be nice because we haven't done that yet. So yeah, so I don't know where I went with that, but I don't know, year round just didn't really work for us. So I'm happy to be starting back with our traditional schooling. What else? Oh, I did want to say that we are not on a strict schedule. So what's nice is we are just, yes, we have an end game in mind as of June. We want to be done closer to the beginning of June, and we'll start back like right after Labor Day in September. But we don't like plan our time out now. So we're going to be more like, We need to make sure we have X amount of weeks put in for school, X amount of days. But other than that, you guys, we're not stressing. You know what I'm saying? So we're just kind of rolling with it, which is really weird for myself and my sister because we like everything scheduled and planned. But I'm telling you, homeschool is changing us in that way, and I really am starting to like it. So that's what's going on with that. I'm not even rapping. I'm just talking. Oh no, I'm taking a break. So the next question is, what are my goals for 2023? I don't have any set. You guys, I'm just revealing myself to you guys. I'm so unprepared with life right now. What is happening to me? If you guys know me in my channel, you know I'm prepared. Like, I am a goal, not really a goal setter, but I'm like a scheduler and everything. Like, I have stuff prepared. But I haven't really thought about my goals yet. I really have just been like living life day to day, you know? One thing though that I will say that one of my goals always is to grow closer to God. That will always be on my goals list, no matter what, because I think that if you just keep setting that as a goal, it helps to remind you, you know what I mean, to not lose sight of the importance, especially in this day and age with life being so crazy, times like everything's crazy, everybody's going crazy. Just knowing that God is there and trying to just be closer to Him, to be more like Him for yourself, for others around you. So that is definitely a goal of mine. Another goal would probably be just to keep striving to help my kids with whatever they're going through in life. That God, you know, works through me to help them. That's really my goals, just to like stay focused on what's important. That's a goal. Because sometimes life can kind of pull you in different directions, if you know what I mean. So what are you going to be reading this new year? I don't know if this question was for me or like for the school. For myself, honestly, I have been doing a Bible study with my husband on Revelation forever now, because things have just been so crazy with like timing and stuff. So we'll just continue to work through that together. And with the kids, we've basically, I mean, we'll just be going through like our history stuff, added supplements, stuff like that. I don't really have anything added into it other than that, because it takes up so much of our time. It's hard to have Tally read other things, or Ari or Juliana, because they read so much for school, or they're doing so much for school, that it's hard to have those things on the side too. You know what I mean? Do you guys feel like that sometimes? Because sometimes I'll watch, like, especially like YouTube and stuff, and I'll see all the added stuff, and I just think, like, when do you find time? Do I do too much school? Like, I don't understand. What am I doing wrong? You know, sometimes I think social media can make you feel like that, but just be in your own and know that whatever you guys are doing is right for your school. That's what I have to tell myself. So yeah, there I go, off again. But to answer that question, that's it. I'm just going to be doing the Bible study with my husband, and then we're just going to be doing like added supplements for school basically. And we'll continue reading Left Behind series. And then my daughter does pick out some readers on the side along with the kids for like their book reports and stuff. Okay, so On the Line Apparel asks, what are your favorite videos that you've ever filmed? What are my favorite videos? I think my favorite videos, I have a lot of them, but for different reasons. Like, for instance, I love doing hauls for you guys because there's no like thought process behind it really. It's just sharing what we're using. It's super exciting because I love watching those videos. I do like sharing our day in the lives but filming them is not my favorite. It takes a lot of time to like move everything around and try to capture our real life on camera when there's like so much like chaos in the midst of it, you know what I mean? Trying to move everything around, trying to stay on top of the school. So I love sharing that with you guys, but it is hard to film. And another, okay, so a favorite though has to be probably just my sit down chit chats with you guys, telling you guys where we're at in life, where school's going, just being real with you guys, because I think there's a lot to be said when you're sitting down trying to relate to other moms in the midst of the same journey as you're on. So like when I watch other moms talk about their homeschool, what they're going through, it's kind of cool to know that you're like not alone on a lot of the things that you're going through. So I do like filming those, and I hope that you guys enjoy connecting through those videos. Now, I want to know what your guys' favorite videos are to see on my channel, because I want to make sure that I'm putting out videos that you guys are actually able to connect with. I also want to be enjoying what I'm giving you guys, because I want it to be as authentic as I can. I want it to be real and raw and show you like it for real, you know what I mean? Because I think with a lot of social media, we get caught up in what we want people to perceive us as, and I feel like it's more important for you to perceive me as you see me. Do you know what I mean? As I am, as we are. I think it's more relatable and it's realistic, and I think that that is healthier for all of us, because if we're constantly seeing things online that's like picture perfect, you start to feel like you're lacking. Does that make sense? So let me know what your guys' favorites are to watch on my channel, because I'd like to meet you guys halfway, you know what I mean? Because I want it to be, you know, something you guys gain and something I gain, you know, having this channel here. Okay, so the next question is from Brutus6820. Let's see, I was wondering how you work in unit studies. We also use NOTGRASS and wondered if you did a normal lesson and added it in addition to that day or in place of the normal lesson with NOTGRASS some days to supplement the topic. Do you apply this to all subjects where you use a unit study in lieu of a lesson in the book that day or in addition to it? Okay, so basically what I do with history is with history, I'm trying to do two things at once, you guys, and it's taking me a minute, but I'll get there. With history, we read the lesson through NOTGRASS, say it's about World War I, and then the next day we will start the unit study. So we don't do the lesson and then start the unit study, if that makes sense. And then, so we'll work on the unit study for say 2 weeks, and then we'll move on to the next lesson in NOTGRASS. Now, I will say that that's how I was doing it for Tally's 3rd and 4th grade. But this year, I'm starting with our unit studies late because I had to do our science unit studies. So instead of us reading, like for instance, in her history, we did the Boston Tea Party. And I had purchased the the What Was Boston Tea Party book, and we were going to do a unit for that. And I was going to have her do the unit as soon as we read it. So we would have read the lesson in NOTGRASS for it, and then we would have started our unit study. But because I was behind, because of our science units that I was putting together, we weren't able to do it like that. So I kind of like battled myself in my mind thinking that that was wrong, that she's not gonna like learn the right way, when in reality, even though we read about it and we moved on and we'll do the unit study when it's ready, she'll still learn about it. She'll still understand when the timeline was because we read about it in her history book. And once we start it, we could kind of go over the timeline again. So I honestly think you could do it however you want. But if it was like a perfect world for myself and I could do like everything super fast, then I would have done it how I did it for the last few years. I feel like it makes a little bit more sense for the kids. But she's still going to be learning regardless. So to answer your question, I usually do it after the lesson, and then we work on the workbook for a couple weeks, and then I start on the next lesson. But this year we're doing it a little bit different. So I think however you want to fit it in, or however you can fit it in, do it that way. And no matter what your kid is learning, you know what I mean? Science. So every subject, the only ones that we do like unit studies with really are history right now. Science, I do differently because we literally are using what I'm making as our own curriculum. So that's a little bit different. And then what else? Geography, I'm adding stuff into as well. But that isn't really unit studies. It's more just like added like enrichment, supplemental type stuff. Like we read about the Aztecs, and then we did a couple little workbook pages that I put together, but it wasn't anything crazy. It wasn't like a whole unit. It was just like, you know, how did they live? What did they do? What did they learn? You know, what did they eat? Stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like crazy. But I hope that answers the question. I feel, you guys, like this video might be all over the place. I'm just a mess right now. Do you see this? What is happening? Oh my gosh. I don't even know what's happening right now. I don't know. I'm rolling with it. How about you guys? This is funny. I'm gonna look back at this video when I'm editing and be like, oh my gosh, should I even put this on my channel? Should I? But going back to being real, this is real. This is real life. You know what I mean? I am not perfect. My stuff is not perfect. Nothing is perfect. So don't ever feel like you guys are lacking or slacking or anything. We're just all trying to do our best. Do what we can, and we're all just trying to make it work, right? So, uh-oh, this bow's a little small. That's okay. Whose gift was this? What did I just wrap? This is my son's. Okay. You know what I usually do that I'm not doing that I should be doing? It's so much faster. So I have the kids' gifts sectioned off. So like one box is my daughter's, one box is my son's. And then what I normally do is I do one person's at a time. So I will do all of my sons, and I will wrap it and gift wrap all at one time. And then when they're all wrapped, that's when I go back and I do all the bows. So it's kind of like a line, you know what I mean? And I think that that's what I'm doing wrong. And I think I'm going to start doing it the way I normally do it, because I don't think I'll ever get done with wrapping if I keep doing it this way. How many of you guys wrap like that? Do you guys wrap like everybody's gift, or do you do one at a time? I'm curious. I feel like wrapping one person's at a time, like with all the gift wrap and then all the tags and ribbons and stuff, I feel like it goes so much faster, maybe because you get into like a zone and you don't have to keep going back and forth. I don't know, but if I keep doing it the way I am, I'm never gonna get done, ever. It's from Jennifer. So how can I include a first grader in my fifth grader's history lesson? Group science is easy because it's so hands-on, but group history is a struggle for me. All right, so let me fix this light real quick because it's getting super dark. So for me, I feel like when my daughter was doing history in first grade, she was doing it through Abeka. And she did Abeka's for kindergarten, first grade, and second grade. And I feel like they didn't touch on it all the time. I want to say that they only did it for like 1 quarter for first grade. They may have done it more in second. I can't remember now, you guys. But I don't think history is really that important for a first grader. So if I were you, I would mostly focus on your fifth grader, because she really, or he, needs history in 5th grade. To keep your other kiddo, your 1st grader, involved, if you want them to be with you and feel like included, and you just want them to kind of get some information from history, have them sit with you. Have them color a picture that relates to what you're talking about, or give them something to paint, or if you don't want the mess, have them color, or do a puzzle or a sticker book or something like that, to where it's not so strict on them, to where they can still hear your lesson, hear what you're talking about. But I wouldn't, like, you know, if they don't understand or they don't know the answer to something, I wouldn't make it such a big deal. Now focus mostly on, you know, like your core subjects for 1st grade: reading, writing, math, language, stuff like that. In history, I would just have them sit with you and have them do something to keep their hands busy. Let them play with a sensory toy or something like that. But I wouldn't be super crazy about it. With my son, because I love history so much, as you guys know, I am going to start him with NOTGRASS in 1st grade. If I notice that he's not that like into it or engaged or wanting to like learn that much, I'm not going to press it. We'll probably only do it a couple days a week. It won't be anything crazy. I'll kind of just work slowly with him, and then I'll kind of hit it harder in 3rd grade. 3rd grade, I felt like was a great age. Like for my daughter, we were doing NOTGRASS in 3rd grade. And even, okay, I'm gonna get confusing for a second. But when we started NOTGRASS, my daughter was in 3rd and my niece was in 2nd. And there was a huge difference from 2nd and 3rd grade that I noticed, that my sister noticed. So having your 5th grader and your 1st grader together, I can see how challenging that can be, just because they're on like complete different like levels. Do you know what I mean? I personally can't imagine having my son sit with me and my daughter during a history lesson. He would be like, oh my gosh, when is this class gonna be over? Like, he'll sit now and be like, I want to do school like you and Tally, because he wants me to teach him. But teaching him and teaching my daughter, they're on completely different levels. And I know a lot of families do it like that and it's doable, but I also think it has to do with where your expectations are as like a mom and the teacher. Because for these families that may be doing these lessons together, I mean, maybe their kids aren't that involved. Maybe they're just sitting during the class, or maybe you're not seeing their side of it, like to where they're moving around and like not focused. You know what I'm saying? So you may hear of these families with all different ages doing science and history and stuff together, but it may not be the way you're picturing it. Do you know what I mean? And like for you, you're saying science is easier because it's more hands-on. And I totally agree with that, because I am bringing my son into some of our science stuff with weather. We're doing experiments and stuff, and he's being involved with that. But with our history, there's no way he would sit through it. So I think that nothing is going wrong with like how you're doing it at all. And I think that's completely normal for a 1st grader to not want to pay attention like a 5th grader. And for some people, history is just boring. You know, I've loved history, but that's just preference. You know what I mean? So my suggestion would be not to stress out about it. Teach your 5th grader, focus on your 5th grader, have your 1st grader with you if you want to do that schooling together. But you know, in the future, you may do their schooling separate or something like that. I don't know. That's how I would do it. Now, other moms here on YouTube or Instagram may have different ideas for you, but in my own experience, like with my own kids and my own nieces, like there's no way I would be doing history with my 9th grade niece and my 5th grade daughter, just because they're on complete separate like levels. Do you know what I mean? Now like 2nd and 3rd, or 3rd and 4th, like my niece is in 4th grade and my daughter's in 5th now, and we do classes together, and I feel like they're on a better like level. You know what I mean? They're more leveling out together, if that makes sense. But I could even see the difference from 2nd and 3rd grade to 4th and 5th grade. There's a huge difference. So that's my advice. Don't be stressed out about it. kind of relax more on your first grader with history and focus more on your fifth grader. It's so hard to answer questions sometimes because everyone is so different. Every family is different. Every kid is different. Every mom is different. Every dynamic is so different. So all I can do is give you guys my advice on what my own situation has been, my own experiences with my own kids and my nieces. So hopefully some of you guys can take away from this and it helps you. But yeah, so that's the end of the Q&A, you guys. I didn't get very much wrapping done. How about you guys? Did you get a lot done? I will probably turn this video off and I will continue to wrap because I have to get wrapping done. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with me. I really enjoyed doing this and talking to you guys and seeing where your guys' minds and schools at. Seeing it from your guys' perspective and not just my own. So thank you to all of you guys that asked questions for this Q&A. You all made it happen, really. I wasn't quite sure if I was going to continue to film a Q&A just because I didn't know if I'd have enough answers or questions to answer. But with all that being said, you guys, have a very Merry Christmas. Just keep God close to you. Remember the reason for this season. And may God bless you guys on this holiday season and into next year. All right, you guys, be safe, be blessed. Bye.